Welcome to Newswire, news for Nebraska's farmers and ranchers. 2022 turned out to be another record year for U.S. agricultural trade, with both export and import values reaching new peaks. Nebraska Farm Bureau economist Austin Harthoorn says last year's trade value snapped a 62-year streak.
Exports and imports are both up for 2022. Those numbers just came out just recently. So trade exports are just shy of 200 million, and I guess imports are too. I think it was 196 million for exports, 198 for imports. So we're running at our second trade deficit since 1960. So that doesn't happen very often. But even with this trade deficit, we're still the last 10 years, we're still in a trade surplus of around $12.5 million. So we're still doing pretty well.
Harthoorn says a trade deficit is when imports surpass exports, meaning the U.S. imported more agricultural goods than it exported. He says multiple factors led to the deficit.
Typically, a trade surplus would be ideal. That's what Nebraska's farmers and ranchers like to see, when what we're selling surpasses what we're buying. This year made it tough. The big reason being the U.S. dollar being so strong, making it difficult for us to export goods to other countries and making it more attractive to import goods from other countries into the U.S. And also the production lag this year with the drought, especially here in Nebraska. We are just simply produce less, and we have less to export to other countries.
According to Harthoorn, ag exports grew by 11%, and this was the second consecutive year of double-digit growth. However, imports grew more rapidly, climbing 16%. He says despite substantial increase in value across almost all categories, many categories of agricultural exports declined in volume in 2022.
So corn was down, I think, 1% this year. That's based on largely decreased volumes going to other countries. We just produced a lot less corn. And also countries that we typically bring corn to, China and Mexico, and other countries like that, they just started sourcing corn from other countries. Soybeans, switching over to soybeans, value was up 25%, I believe, year over year. And actually the volume going to, export volume was up going to other countries this year too. I think that was up like 10%. So increased volume, increased prices, you're going to see that increased value for soybeans there. Looking at beef, I believe beef was up 10% this year in terms of export value. Volume was also up, so you like to see that. You like to see more Nebraska beef and U.S. beef getting out to other countries.
In 2022, U.S. exports remained concentrated in 6 top markets. 67% of U.S. ag exports were to China, Mexico, Canada, Japan, the EU, and South Korea. And while Nebraska's trade numbers won't be out until later this year, Harthoorn expects a mixed bag for Nebraska agricultural exports. For more stories like this, visit nefb.org and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching Newswire.